I'm doing this.
It's on to us! Put an end to you!
Whitechapel. This neighborhood is linked somehow to the kind. Lady Ashbury's blackmail. First, let's find this Petrescu fellow.
Stop it now, Albert! Stop it! I won't end up another drunk arsehole living in the streets. Not me.
What?
Shooting a boy in the middle of the street. Not the best thing to do, wouldn't you say?
What? You saw what happened? Who are you?
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you promise me to set your gun aside.
No. Look, I'm not a violent man. I'm Benjamin Palmer, doctor. And no one can help me. Not even you.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Have you heard anything?
It's funny, I've been searching for her too. I need some pills. But the woman is a phantom, if you ask me.
Really? And why is that?
Word is she ain't real. She's just a cover for some doctor who runs an illegal dispensary for migrants.
What can you tell?
Nothing to say, really. This is where I used to live.
You don't have...
Not since the death of my wife.
You mean you used to have a better life?
Yeah, I had a wife, a home, and a...
Perhaps you could focus for a moment and tell me your troubles.
I'm sick, broke, and my son just stole my pills. Everything's coming up roses.
Whatever the boy did, I'm sure he didn't deserve a public execution.
I swear I didn't want to hit him. It's just that I'm sick in the head, you see, and the boy just frayed me last nerve.
I have found a very interesting letter. Your son planned to prove his worth to the gang by stealing your medicine.
Oh, I see. So the little bugger thought he could use his dad to build a reputation.
The gang's recruiter was dead when I found him. Perhaps you should take better care of your son.
I love my Albert, sir. Believe me. It's just...
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now. I can't believe I'm doing this. I have this thirst for blood.
The SWAT.
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her, but it seems she provides some sort of medical care to the poor. The whole thing has to be some sort of scam, if you ask me.
Tell me, who intrigues you most?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say Camellia the mute florist who gives away her flowers.
What do you think of the locals?
Most of them are afraid or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they get here.
Loretta, your miraculous formula wouldn't even cure a common cold, and you know it.
The Swanborough's cordial's secret ingredient is hope, Doctor. And it's something people around here really need.
A placebo effect is real and has benefit. But in your case, you could be murdering your customers who may die because they are not receiving the necessary medical attention.
Medical attention? In Whitechapel? Trust me, my cordial is the best option they have, since it is the only one.
Well, as it is a placebo of sorts, perhaps it may have some positive effect.
See? You have to admit I'm doing some good. The Swanborough family is not poisoning anybody, Doctor.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're... Good evening.
If you're here for a reward, you'll be sorely disappointed.
I'm not here for a bounty.
A doctor? In Whitechapel? What an
Do you require assistance?
Not me.
I'm looking for Dorothy Crane. She's a nurse. What can you tell me about her?
Dorothy Crane. Bless her soul. I really should thank her someday.
Has she treated you?
No. When I need a checkup, I'd go to a bloody doctor, not some back alley clinic full of sick foreigners.
You seem to have recovered well since your attack. Do you ever think about what happened to you?
Not much. It was a fucking nightmare.
You'd better not come back. I want to know everything about the recent violence, Cadogan. And I want the truth.
Well, rent may be a bit high, and yeah, I've had to evict a few people. But that's business, isn't it?
Take this as my final warning. You will not profit from the misery of others. Business is one thing, but what you do is quite another.
Really? What you gonna do? You ain't from here. You ain't Whitechapel, Doctor. You wouldn't know the first thing about playing dirty, even if you wanted to.
Goodbye, Mr. Bates.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up. I must insist, sir. Please let me see Nurse Crane.
I have no time for you, sir.
Who distribute flowers at this hour? This district seems to get uglier every year.
I cannot enter.
Joe, please, I don't have your money.
Come on, Barrett, you know the game. You play for peace of mind.
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
So, you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nah.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in her country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
What do you mean when you say that I am more
All scientists are entangled in a world of...
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me.
But you are seeking answers.
I am. But the answers I seek... do you mean when you say
Also,
quite a judgmental...
well, you are...
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to you.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called...
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
Really? And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes.
What is left then?
Cleansing fire.
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Purification by fire has proved useful, but where do you stop? Burn the clothes? The buildings? The corpses? Worse?
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task is to convince rational minds like yours to see the light. This is God's...
You're mad. And dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher.
My son, if you think salvation is a free...
Joseph, a fool.
Vicar Larrabee...
What do you mean when you say that I am
All
quite...
Well, you...
Well,
As
what...
the-
I have heard enough. Goodbye. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions.
Please be my guest. Although I may not be the best informant regarding this.
Really? Are you an artist of some kind?
I'm a poet, sir. Richard Nethercott, at your service.
Tell me, Mr. Nethercott, why seek inspiration in Whitechapel?
The place is not beautiful per se, but how to explain it? Stirring and challenging.
In what way, exactly?
The struggle by gaslight, the
If you say so. Such vivid, of course.
Oh yes, the poignant.
Do you not think it a little morbid?
On the contrary, sir. Whitechapel is full of life.
What can you tell me about Camellia?
Not much. And that...
Perhaps you're just afraid to find...
One day, perhaps, I'll ask her to come with me. But, will she still be my wife?
And have you ever tried to learn more about her? Where she lives? How she's...
Maybe I prefer she remains an enigma. Reality can be so
May I ask what you're doing at this hour of night, sir? Do you live here?
Not at all. I'm just enjoying the pleasure of a quiet walk. Though night talks are always preferable, if you ask me. Especially with strangers.
But are you not afraid of the epidemic?
Oh, why should I? I see some equity in the Spanish flu. No flesh should be saved, say the scriptures. Good or evil, rich or poor, all are equal in the eyes of...
If you say so. But as a physician in a time of epidemic, I must caution you to avoid unnecessary exposure, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. But we both know the seeker of truth has to go boldly where the weak dare not.
Are you aware that your life could be in danger in this part of town?
But this is where I must be to feel the real beat of the city. I had to come, see it for myself, alone.
If some misfortune came upon you, who would be here to help you?
Well, you for a start, my dear Doctor.
I understand your need for solitude, but it's not safe around here.
I don't care. I don't have many friends, Doctor, and my family despises me.
What are your thoughts on the...
Terrible, you say? No.
What are you talking about?
Do you remember London before the flu?
Yes. The enjoyable silence of the grave.
Most people fail to understand my perspective.
I'll leave you alone, sir. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you a few questions. I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls. But I mean you no harm, truly. Tell me about Richard Nethercott. I understand he is quite fond of you, Camellia. I know you understand what I'm saying. Your silence has nothing to do with you being mute, does it? Tell me about Richard Nethercott. Very well. Goodbye then.
Some of us come to this world already touched by grace.
For there is no protection against malevolence and trickery.